But I want to talk to you guys about this idea that's floating around. I don't know if it's an idea, like rumblings that are floating around right now, and I've heard them in the past, like the past couple of months. What do you guys think of this rumor that maybe we're going to go into a playoff at the end of the season?
I'm sorry, what? We're gonna go into a playoff?
Well, there's talk of it. I don't know how serious the talk is, but like.
So is that like one of those things where they take like the top?
Do you remember? Yeah. Do you remember in 2011 and 12 we had the Super Final? Do you remember that?
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Like us, Galatasaray, Fenerbahçe, and Trabzonspor, and we played like a playoff. And
it was 2 games, home and away
against each other, and then whoever had the most points from the regular season plus the points tallied up from the Super Final, whoever ended up on top then was the champion. So
it wasn't exactly how it worked, Kaan. Is they actually halved the points of the teams, so the point difference.
They didn't do that though. They didn't do that.
Oh, I'm sure they did.
Did they? Are you sure?
Yeah, they did. Because
there had to be some way of like prorating.
They do that in Belgium, and I think they.
No, they done that in the Super Final as well. In fact, I was making calculations of how we'd win the league in 2011, 2012. Unfortunately, it didn't happen.
Okay. Well, I mean, what do you guys think of this?
I just think they should leave it the way it is, man. Like, if I was to maybe lack a bit of integrity, I'd say, oh yeah, bring it on, do it this year. And
if I was a Galatasaray fan and Galatasaray was in our position, I'd be all like, yeah, bring it on, because Galatasaray fans, don't have any ethics.
I'll tell you this. Here's what I say. Here, if they're trying to make some sort of event for people to air it, I would suggest they make some separate tournament, maybe as like a preseason tournament to spice up the preseason and give us slightly more competitive games to prepare for the season, instead of the Super Cup, and you could do like a little round robin tournament or some shit like that. But making new rules that impact, right? Like the league is founded on, we have this many stars, this many championships. Once you start obfuscating what it takes to become champion and sort of changing that whole, it changes the metrics of the whole league. I'm not into that.
I think you can change it, but not in the middle of the freaking season.
Certainly, that's
you can't change the rules when the game's ongoing. But I think in general, I'm completely against playoffs in general, man, because you can be like us and have a fucking shit season, and then like maybe have a good run like we are having now and get into the top 3, and all of a sudden you're in the playoffs and you can win the championship. Like, I'm
not against playoffs. It's just they have to be a separate. It's got to be separate. Like it could be like the cup, right? A cup is essentially the playoffs, right? Like,
well, first and foremost, I am completely against playoffs altogether. It's a system that is being used in Belgium now for a decade or more than a decade, I think. And it's a system I never liked. I don't think it's a fair system, especially when they have the points, because that allows teams like, for example, Club Brugge, I think have won over the last 10 years probably 3 championships simply because of playoffs. Because they peak in the playoffs. They're, mediocre all season, but they keep up with the number one. They're like 10 points behind or something. And then in the playoffs, they're going to peak, and then they win the championship in the playoff. But then it completely further marginalizes all those other matches, like the 30 or the 34 matches you play in the full season. I think it would completely marginalize all the small clubs in Turkey. Now at least when Beşiktaş, Fenerbahçe, Galatasaray come to Antalya, or they come to Malatya, or to Izmir or whatever. Oh, Izmir is a bad example, but like, the cities where when they're playing Sivasspor at home, there's like 5,000 people max in the stadium, but when one of the big teams is there, there'll be like 25,000 people or something like that, those types of clubs, like, I think we've seen in Belgium is that like the stadiums are less full, especially because then they have like the Champions playoff, and then they have like this other playoff for like 8 teams to potentially get a chance at a European ticket. And like that second playoff has like no fans almost. Like nobody comes to those matches. Yeah. Nobody cares because everyone wants to be in the first playoff. And I just don't think it just, you know, it kind of devalues the entire season.
The rest of the season.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I don't like the format to begin with. And I think it's completely and utterly unethical to change a competition already in full motion. I think that is completely unacceptable. Also, I think if they, let's say this happens, to me, that is them further admitting that some weird shit has happened and that there's corruption and that because the only reason they did it in 2012 was because of the match fixing scandal. So if they would do it again now, then they're essentially admitting some funny shit went down this season.
Yeah.
And the team that's at the top of the table probably shouldn't be at the top of the table because they got, I don't know. So to me, that would be admitting that. And now I think.
I mean, the people who probably love this idea is like Fener, right?
Of course, you know, Fener.
Technically, we should be loving it just now, but me personally, like, see whenever Besiktas wins a league title, we always win the league because we played the best football and we're the best team.
And we beat the ref, essentially.
Yeah. And I want it to stay that way.
It would be a tainted, like, obviously,
yeah,
even if they have the points, the chances of us winning it is like marginal, like almost non-existent. But let's say we would, it would be a tainted champion. It would be our first.
Oh yeah, like who would even celebrate that?
Yeah, it would be our first
our
first tainted.
I'd have a beer.
League title. Yeah.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
no,
it's done like an NBA style where it'd be like the top, if it's the top 4, let's say, or the top 8 or whatever, and then it's just basically the only advantage first place gets is they play the bottom seed. Like if you done that, I think that'd be really tainted. If we
but that also completely devalues the rest of the season, though.
No, it does. That's what I'm saying. That'd be the worst case scenario.
It's also just like innovation for the sake. Like, is anyone asking for this change? Like, I don't understand.
I think the only reason why it's being floated right now is because there's so much controversy. But like, those, like, I mean, you know, I went like Ufunfu just asked, "Am I gonna go on another rant?" But like, it's just those two, man. Like this week again, like super fucking toxic. I know you're off Twitter nowadays, Sinan, but like. Galatasaray accusing Jose Mourinho of racism and like filing like taking legal action. Now Fener are taking legal action for defamation and stuff like that. Like those two, like at this, like on one hand, you know, it's like a league without them would be kind of boring. But I'm really getting to a point where like, please, can both these clubs just cease to exist? Can they just create their own little Mickey Mouse league and just play each other constantly?
Then go to that like Super League that they were cooking up.
Maybe take Samsunspor with you because they're owned by Galatasaray, and Eyüpspor because they're owned by Galatasaray, and like, you know, other clubs owned by Fener. So like, with like Fenerbahçe and Galatasaray presidents, like take them with you. And let the rest of the country play football. Like, I mean, like another topic that we should talk about is this whole foreign referee thing. You know, I don't know if you watched the derby, guys, but the referee, I think he was Slovenian, Vuncic, I believe his name, or Vucic or something. He was really good. I thought the ref was really, really good. And I genuinely think if we would have had a European referee, like the Europa League standard ref, Champions League standard ref, we would have had that a ref like that for our match against Galatasaray earlier this season. I'm not saying we win it, but we definitely don't lose that match. And I think if you look at the last...
I still like my idea of just alternating refs to every country. They just move to the nearest country on a cycle, and we just never have the same refs every 2 seasons.
But see, now they have set a very dangerous precedent because assigning a foreign referee to this derby essentially is the TFF admitting that Turkish referees are either incompetent or not impartial. So now I think Besiktas and Trabzonspor and every other club, really, every time they play Galatasaray or Fenerbahçe, and only really when they play Galatasaray and Fenerbahçe, because those are the irony of it is that those are the two teams that always consistently, systematically get help by the referees. So the irony is that those two clubs are the ones that got the foreign ref. But we should all now, and Sinan Adala made a statement on this last week already, we talked about that, we should all now be saying, okay, when we play Fenerbahçe, I don't care about when we play Antalyaspor and stuff like that. Actually, I do care because I think refs fuck us all the time, but more importantly in the derbies, I think I never want to see Halil Umut Meler or anyone like that ever again, because they all have colors. They're all colored. So now, I mean, what's gonna happen if we play Galatasaray in a couple of weeks, which we do, and we say, okay, we want a foreign referee, and they say no? What should we do then? Should we say, okay, fuck you then, we don't play?
I think I don't want to not play because I think we need all the 3 points we can get. Man.
Yeah, of course, but like
yeah, but it just
the TFF,
puts this weird. Yeah.
The TFF can't go back on this now, right? Because actually, Galatasaray didn't want the foreign referee. Everyone in Turkey praised the performance of the referee.
They tried to fight it,
except Galatasaray. Okan Buruk said after the match that
and
the referee
was
terrible and that he prefers Turkish refs. Yeah, of course you prefer Turkish refs, fucker. You always get if you watch the game, like Galatasaray were completely out of their element because they couldn't flop all the time and get every single fucking call. And that's
like a rapist in a trial. Like, I prefer judges who also committed rape. But like, yeah, of course you fucking prefer. Like, all right, dude, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move.